So even the events that are on the Northwest, you're still not close to.
Yeah. I fly to all the regionals in Northern California and Reno. Usually the airfares are pretty decent, so it's basically costs as much as 2 tanks of gas or whatever, and it saves me 5-6 hours.
Oh, a lot of time. Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah.
You can flights for cheap. That's not
Yeah.
bad at all.
Yeah, last year I got pretty good flights and pretty much everything at Bold, so that's why I was able to kind of go chase the points and do that.
So what do you think? What do you think is what do you think on a higher level of bowling? What do you think the patterns should look like? Do you have an idea? Do you think they should be a little easier and higher scoring, or do you think it should be like super tough? Do you think it matters?
Well, it's easy to say on the higher level you want the patterns to be tough, and I agree, right? Like take for the Masters, like the cut number was way lower than you would think. Like we just got done bowling the TOC, the TPC, and the Indianapolis tournament, and I can't remember what exact scores, but you know they're pretty high scoring, right? They were pretty. They weren't soft patterns, but they were just high scoring patterns.
Yeah.
And to go bowl the USBC Masters and have it cut that low, it was just like what? Like
I know.
They felt impossible. Like I couldn't just move left and jack on it. What's going on here? Like,
yeah, exactly.
So I personally like the harder stuff because yeah, my cats are doing something over here. It feels like it gives me like the not so world class bowler, I guess, a chance at a little bit better chance than having to. It's nice not going in having to know you have to shoot 230 every game.
Well, define world-class bowler, because I'm not so sure a lower rev rate guy, we say lower, but lower rev rating compared to Belmo, really has a great chance to become a world-class bowler. Look at the show at the Masters, man. Look at the show. You had, who'd you have? You had Andrew played in, but then you had Klumpkin, Hoskins, Ryan.
Joey Pants.
And then Joey Pants. Joey Pants, dude. Look at that lineup. When I see something like that, I love it. I don't know what the general public sees about it. I don't know what they think about it. Like if someone random is watching ESPN and they're watching it, I don't know what they think about it, but I love that. I think it's really cool.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's another good point. Like I don't know what the general public thinks because I don't really talk to people. I don't talk to the general public, but that lineup on TV, I liked it too because you had a little bit of everything on the show. You had Andrew, who's pretty much, I would put him world-class pro at this point.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal bowler.
Yeah, and he is, and I would put him a little higher rev rate as well.
Yeah, me too.
Then you have Hoskins, who I would say is a decent rev rate player, but I wouldn't put him in world-class. And then you have Pants, who's kind of an old school, up the lane type of guy, and Rhino, is another world-class bowler, left-hander. And then Compton, who's trying in the same category as Hoskins. So
I saw that happening, by the way. Your Perrier.
I know. Your thing's empty.
I watched that whole thing.
But yeah, I kind of on the same page as you. That was really nice to see because it gives people like us a little bit of hope that we don't have to be Marshall Kent or Belmonte or Prather rev rate type of guy to make a TV show. Hey, stop. God, freaking zoo over here.
They just had the PBA Tour Finals, and I don't know if it's aired yet. I don't know. I didn't pay much attention to it, but I bet you the top 8 consisted of Belmo, EJ, Marshall, Dom, Jesper, 3 other guys, Rash, but I guarantee you, like, it was a fairly soft pattern. It was just a bomb fest. Like, how hard can you hit it, and how much can you get it to hook? And I guess there's like some cool things about that. Like, definitely those guys are unbelievable at it. I mean, unbelievable.
It's fun to watch strikes.
Yeah, exactly.
It is.
But then, like, there's also an element of being able to watch shot makers, out shot make people. And the cool thing was this year at the Masters, I made my first cut and I got Barnes. And I drew Barnes basically on the pattern you don't want to draw Barnes on.
Yeah.
And so I played right most of the time. I didn't have I played left on the double burn, but for the most part on the 2 freshes I played right. And and I don't get to do that very often. And I definitely wasn't the sharpest, but I was catching doubles. I was making enough good shots to catch a couple doubles a game and shoot 2-0, and I ended with 70 over and made the cut. So when I went into match play to Bull Barnes, I knew he was going to play right. So okay, so do I sit here and I try and play right against the best bowler in the world at playing right? Or do I try and get in and try and create some friction to make him get in, or what's my game plan here? And as I'm like going through this game plan that I'm trying to like accumulate, I fell in love with it a little bit because that's not normally the case. A lot of times it's just to get left fest and bang on it.
Yep.
But now it's like I'm sitting here trying to strategically think of a way to beat a shot maker. Okay, so do I play right? And ultimately, I did play right, and he won. But that scenario was cool because it's not normally like that. It's normally just like, okay, I got Belmo, and he's gonna shoot 780, slow wheel in the lane, because when he slow wheels the lane, he's unbeatable.
Yeah.
So that's cool and everything, but like a fresh like pattern like that where it's super low scoring and there's more to think about. There's more areas you can play. You can play in your comfort zone if you want to. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was cool.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh, that's a good point about how you were talking about staying right, and like instead of automatically thinking I'm gonna have to get left and bang on it and wheel it, you're like, oh, I can do this and do that, do that. It's like when I bowl on the tour stuff, like the first game or two, I'm usually pretty good. Like I can stay right and kind of keep things in front of me, and I don't have to do too many crazy stuff. But like as soon as we get in later in the blocks, I struggle with getting in and really truly like wheeling it with these guys. And so the thing about the Masters pattern that I liked too was even when they broke down, I didn't have to move it like left. I didn't have to wheel it. I didn't have to play that kind of like pro tour wheel right away. It got there at times, but like
Right.
it was nice that I didn't have to automatically do that. There were other options. I could actually use hand tricks that I grew, like we talked about growing up, learning how to bowl on certain things. Like I grew up with certain hand tricks, and I feel like I can't use them half the time on tour, but like there, I felt like I could, and that was really nice because it was like, oh, I can actually like kind of, I feel like I can actually trick it and shoot 2-teen and not lose 30 to the field.
Right.